Hello.
Hey,
How's it going?
it's going.
Yeah, I hear you.
It's been a wild week already.
Yeah.
Sick kids are not fun right now.
No, I bet not. My wife had something over the weekend, she's like kind of like a little head cold or something. So it wasn't terrible, but I was
Hmm
like, stay over there.
It's the end of the school year. We just got like 2.5 weeks
Oh.
left. Let's just make it through.
Right. Yeah.
How's it
Thanks.
going, guys?
What's going on, man?
Not much.
We should have Laura also, I think. I didn't hear. Let me check my messages. Yeah, no messages. We'll give her a second. While we wait, y'all have any questions? Nothing? Okay. I did put in the Slack just now a more organized index.js file. I put some headers and stuff on there. So if you want to check that out, you can. Should work. I didn't actually try it. I guess I should try it. Let me refresh this. This over here. Okay. Yeah, it looks like it works. All right. We have Laura. Sweet. This is sideways. Okay. All right, cool. Um, Laura, any questions before we take off?
None off the top of my head.
Okay. All right. Cool. So quick review. We just did, let's get the code over here. We were working on getting the uh, front end talking to the back end, right? Um, and so I believe we had made the, let's see, we did the on page load, which I moved up to the top. Um, we are setting that fake user in local storage so that way we could have an ID so we could get just those records instead of everybody's records. And then we were loading our categories and loading our expenses. And I believe both those were working successfully, which it looks like they are. Though category says undefined, so I'll have to fix that. And then I was also thinking this ID is super unhelpful and ugly, so probably don't need to show that. I'm going to leave it for now, though. So if we do get into editing, we can actually see that ID is being passed and compare it. But in production, yeah, we wouldn't leave this because one is security risk, and two, it's just ugly. Um, so let's go first back to my code. And then I think we started with the ad expense. Yeah, we started messing with this guy, which is our first post. So that's good. Okay, we'll get back to that in a second. Let's fix that undefined real quick. So we know that we are getting our expenses. Let's see. Let's see. Why it's not displaying our category? Let's see if we're logging our expenses still. So let's go to our load expenses right here. Okay, I'm going to console log our expenses here so we can see what that looks like. Console.log expenses. Put expenses. Okay, refresh the page. Okay, here's our expenses. So our category is coming in as this object name with a key of name, right? And then the value is the string, so the food or whatever it may be. So my guess is that we're just putting categories. We're probably not messing with the key, which is why we're seeing undefined. Um, so let's see if that's the case. Whoa, that's not what I wanted. Okay. So on our render, whenever we're actually rendering the page, which we are doing, uh, oh, that's where we're doing it after we loaded our categories because we're having that async await issue on Saturday. So this should load all the categories, and then let's see. That's our options. Oh, sorry, load our expenses. That's where we need to be. Expenses, not categories. So let's go back up here, right here. Okay. Yeah. So here we were calling our render expenses function within the load expenses function instead of it being outside how it was before. And that's so that we could just pass the expenses straight into it without having to rely on the one function to await the other function to do the thing. That was the whole rabbit hole we went on Saturday. So passing these expenses to the render expenses function. Let's check that guy out here. It's this guy. And this is what actually makes that body for us, if we remember, like this whole table, right? So we'll look in here, it makes table body, it clears out if there's anything. So every time it renders, it clears it out, right? And then like repaints the page. If there is no expenses, it's just going to show that no expenses yet thing, which we saw before. If there is expenses, so in our else loop, we're going to loop through here and we're going to make all the table rows, right? Putting the inner HTML in those table rows. And so if you notice right here for category, we're just doing current expense dot category, which is the actual, well, actually, I don't think it's the object either. But so if we look, let's just console log current expense here, and this will show with each iteration of the loop what that expense is bringing back. So let me do console log current expense. Current expense. Okay, and then we'll go back here. And we can see here, we've already got current expense. So if we get the top one here, so this is old coffee, right? So let's find the top one. Okay, so this is old coffee. And so if we look at our code, we are bringing in current expense dot date. So if we look at the console log, dot date is right here. That's 2025. That's what's showing. And then current expense dot description. So if we go back to our object, we have dot description, old coffee. So we're seeing that, right? And then category, you can just look here. We have categories, this object that has this name and food inside of it, right? So we just have category. So that's why it's undefined, because this doesn't exist. Current expense dot category does not exist, right? Because we're seeing right here, we have categories and then an object within it. So if we console log, so under current expense, I'm just going to console log current expense dot categories. So we can see what that looks like. And this is called like drilling down. So like whenever you mess with APIs, like the really big like Pokemon API and stuff, you'll start with like, okay, I know I need name or whatever, or I need skills. So you'll like just console log this up to the skills point. So it's like maybe it's like Pokemon dot whatever dot skills. Like you'll just console log to that point and then look at it and be like, okay, I need to get into this array or whatever it is, and just kind of keep drilling down till you get the data you actually need. So this is a typical thing to do. Current expense dot categories. And again, this is just a tag. You can put whatever you want here. So I just like to put like what I'm actually seeing. Just makes more sense in my brain. Okay. So now if we look back to our old coffee right here, so we can see that our categories is has this object in it, but I think categories is an array, right? Let's see what type you are. Yeah, so it's going to have those objects in it, but it's an array itself, right? So we need to get to, it's only going to have one object in it, because that'd be weird to have a bunch of different categories for one object. So we just need to get to the 0 position, right, of the array, and then the name key so that we can get that value of food. Okay. So yeah, categories is an array. And if you look at, let's see. I thought it would help us out there. Okay. So yeah, categories is an array with an object of name, key, name, value, food. So if we do the right one here, so if I just increase this console log to say like position 0 dot what was our key? I forgot our key already. Now, name was it? Okay. Position 0 dot name. Now this should give me that actual string food or whatever else, right? That's what it should do. Let's see if it does. It does not, because categories I think is an object, not an array. Let's see. What we can do, so if we do categories, we can do type of to see like what type this thing is. And if it's an object instead of an array, then that's why that didn't work. You can do like type of like that. And then it'll tell us right here. Okay, so it is an object. Okay, so not an array. So don't let that, like the drop down arrow confuses me sometimes because I'm like, oh, okay, it's a bunch of stuff within here, but that's not what it means. So it is an object. So that's easier because then we can just do current expense dot categories dot name. And that should then give us food or whatever else, which we see here, food. Okay. So the two things about drilling down is you got to figure out what you're actually looking at, which if you're just looking at the console log, sometimes can be a little confusing. So you can definitely use that type of. You just stick type of in front of whatever the variable is. It'll tell you whatever type that is. So we figured out that this current expense dot categories is an object, which has an object with inside of it that had the name, the key of name, which and the value of food, right? And so that's what we want to actually show down here. So we want to do categories dot name. Okay. And then that should then show us our categories. Okay. Did I lose you all on that? Stick with me pretty good. It's okay.
Can you go back to your code for just a second?
Yep. Sometimes like the drilling down is the hardest part. Like you'll know what function you want to do, you'll know what logic you need to do, but then you'll be like, okay, there's this giant object with objects and arrays and everything else inside. I just need this data that's like 6 levels in. Like, how do I get there? So yeah, like even I sometimes I'll like draw myself a little like line chart, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I got like a weird autocorrect thing that kind of messed up what I was doing.
Oh, okay. You need to share, or are you getting it figured out?
No, I think I got it now. I just have to try again, not push tab.
Yeah. Yeah, those autocorrect can definitely, it can be super helpful, but it can also just jack you up.
Okay. Mm, okay, I think I'm good. I think I'm good.
Okay. All right, so yeah, so now we are properly displaying the category instead of an undefined. And then our amount, current expense dot amount, I believe is already correct. Yep, looks good. And then we got our buttons. Cool. And I'm gonna go ahead and just real quickly, well, no, we'll leave this for now. It's fine. It's fine. We'll mess that out later. Okay. All right, cool. So we now have what we had before, except for it's displaying correctly. So let's work on add expense. So let me get this over here. Okay, so this is our render. Our render is fine for now. So let's go back up to our add expense. Okay, so I have this section here for CRUD expenses. So we can have it all kind of in one place, easy to see. This is our create, which we're about to work on. We did our read already down here. That was our load expenses. So that was how we just loaded in the expenses for just that user, right? And so just go over that again real quick. We use the fetch, which you have to await because it's going to go talk to the server, talk to the database, send it on back. We made sure we had an async function, otherwise our await won't work. We have the URL of our server, and then the endpoint that we're hitting, expenses, and then we're passing that query parameter of our current user's ID, right? So we can go in the database and say, hey, this is the ID of the stuff I want, only give me that. And then when we get a response back, then we check it, make sure it's good, and then we turn the response into JSON so we can actually get that data and use it, which we have to await that as well. And then we did our render expense by passing the expenses to it, displays on the page, beautiful, awesome. Cool. Any questions on that? All right. Okay, so now for add expenses. So we're going to pass in description, amount, and category when we call this. So we're going to do this from our submit, remember, on our form. So if you remember, we have, again, descriptions, amount, and category, which are right here, right? Descriptions, amount, category. And we already loaded our categories in earlier. Okay. And so just the HTML bit, you're going to do your query selector, grab the ID, the one you want, get the value from it, right? Save in a variable. We're console logging them just to see them. And we had this bit here. So if we were editing or not, so if it was adding or if it was editing, in this case, we're just adding. So this is going to be null, and we set it to null at the top here. So we're not going to worry about that right now. We're just going to worry about adding. So it's going to come down to our else because it is null. So this is not true. So we're going to come to our else. We're going to validate the expense, and then we're going to go to our add expense, right? So our validation is, I put it down here in the helper function section now. We're just going to come in, basically make sure that nothing is just empty strings. We have positive numbers and that they did select a category. That's what this is going to do. Okay, so no change there. That's fine. Now back to our add expense. Okay, so that was our form here. We're going to our add expense function, which is right here. Again, taking in description, amount, category. We're going to console log what's coming in so we can see what's coming in. And then we are going to create the expense object, which will have our description, our amount, our category, and our date. We're not going to give it an ID because that's going to get given from the database when we put it in the database. We're going to log that expense so we can see what the object itself looks like. And then right here's where we're at with my to-do. So we need to complete the route, do the database insert. All right. So this is our first post. The other ones were gets, right? So for this one, for the post, it's going to be the same as far as the fetch goes. You have to await your fetch. Make sure that we do have an async function, which we do. And then the difference, obviously, being that we have to put our method of post, give it our headers, which is just application/JSON for now, and then give it that body of expense. which is going to be this object here. I don't think we need to put it in brackets since it's already an object, but we'll see if that gets mad. Should just be expense because this is already an object. Okay, and we'll see if it hits. Again, notice that this is an expenses endpoint again, which matches our read one, wherever that ran off to, right here. The difference being two differences. This one has a query parameter, so it's a get with a query parameter. This one is a post. So they literally could be the exact same endpoint. One being a get, one being a post means they're going to go to two separate endpoints, right? Cool. All right, let me bring the server over. So we are going to, we're not going to read, we already read. We're not going to read that one. Okay. All right, here's our post right here. So our post, app.post, we're in our server.js now. Our /expenses, it's going to take in description, amount, sorry, the rec.body is going to pass it description, amount, category ID, and date, which if we look back at our index.js, that is what we have in our expense that we're passing to it. So that's where it's getting those from. I'll have to check one thing in a second, but that's great. All right, cool. So once we get that, then we're going to run our Supabase SQL query, where we're going to say in the expenses table, we want to insert those four things that we're bringing in. I believe these match our column names. If not, you would have to do like say that our column name was like DESC instead of description. You'd have to do it like that, right? But I believe it matches, so it just matches up, so it's fine. We have to add that .single or .select.single so we can get that new ID back and know we had successful database insertion. And then we're going to check the error, which we get back right here. If there is an error, we're going to return, hey, there was someone wrong. Here's the message. If there's not an error, then good to go. And we're just going to return back the data, which in this case should just be the ID. Well, no, actually, sorry, it brings back the whole thing we inserted. Cool. You may notice that this if doesn't have any curly brackets, so it's just an inline if. Exact same thing if you had the curly brackets. It just is cleaner to write or whatever. Okay, questions on that before I go and do it? All good? Makes sense? Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and try to add one. Let's make sure my server is running, which it is. And my 5 servers here. I'm going to refresh for funsies. Okay. All right. What do we not have? Let's see. We do not have any Taco Bell. Okay. So Taco Bell, it's going to be $30. And I don't have a food category. Oh, because that was what, remember when we changed the ID, the user's ID, I think user ID 2 has food now. So we'll just put it under other for now. All right, add expense. Something happened. Everything cleared off, but we're not seeing our stuff. So let's look at our browser console, see what we got. We have an error. But let's look above. So here we go. We've got description, Taco Bell, amounts 30, category ID is that. And then validate, it was valid, so it was good there. Oh, one thing weird. Okay. There's our incoming expense. Created expense is this guy, so it got at least that far. And then it looks like we had a property undefined reading length in our render expense. So let's go see what that's about. 272. 272. Okay. So it says if expenses.length equals 0. So it's saying that expenses does not have a length, which might make sense. We'll see here in a second why. So let's do in our render, let's just console log expenses right off the bat. So we can see what it looks like. Expenses. And then I'm going to check. I don't have, let me open up Supabase real quick. And I want to see if it actually did create that record. MySQL, I got a lot of junk here. Select all from expenses. Okay, so it did create the expense. So we are definitely inserting, but there was an error coming back. So at least we know we got that far. That's good. Okay, so let's see what's going on here. So if I go back here and I'm just going to refresh and so it's not showing our Taco Bell. Oh, you know why? I bet it's because our user ID. Let me see what user ID Taco Bell got. Yep, so user ID got Taco Bell. Nope. Taco Bell got user ID of null. You can see right there in the corner right down there. So we forgot to pass a user ID. So I'm going to go ahead and just delete this record. So I'm going to say delete from expenses where ID equals, and just grab this ID, put it in quotes, and tell me no. Okay. All right, cool. So it is gone. Okay. All right, so let's go back. So when we are creating that expense, so back up here to our add expense, we're going to need to get that user ID and pass that along as well, which we have in our local storage already. So if we go here, so we're doing get user from local storage already, right? And we're storing it in our current user. So we can access that ID from the current user. So if we just go down back to our add here, where we're making our expense object, we'll just add a new field called user ID. And we're going to make it set to current user.id. Okay. I'm just going to double check that our column is user_ID, all lowercase. And that's what I have there. Okay, so that'll get us our user ID in there. Yep, okay. So let's try it again. Go back to here, let's refresh for no reason, and try it again. So talk about 30 and other add expense. Okay, so still got the same error. However, if we go to Supabase now and do a select all, we still don't have our, so we got it on the front end. We forgot to actually use it on the back end. That's what we did. So still got a null. So I'm going to delete that guy again. So, okay. So back to our code. So now if we go to our backend server and we console log, or we get our user ID here, so we can do user ID. And I'm gonna go ahead and just console log rec.body right above this, just so we can see what it looks like. Rec.body. And this, for a long time, I was like, where the heck's rec come from? Like REQ, like where is that? So in case you didn't know, it's right here. So every route in your server will have the rec and the res, and that's just a request and the response. So whatever's coming in on the request, in this case, the body, like it's request dot whatever. And then response is what's coming back. So when we get response, we get like response.ok and then response.json. That's on that response object. So request object, response object. Okay. All right, cool. So let me rerun my, all right, we're using Nodemon, so I don't need to do that. Let me just hit the thing again here. All right, Taco Bell. It's an expensive meal. Okay. All right, so now if we go back to our server, then we will see here is our rec.body, which now has that user ID of 1. So we're getting it to the back end now. Now we just need to go ahead and shove it in the server. So right here we have description, amount, category ID, and date. These are again the columns that we're inserting into the database. Let me check real quick. Okay, category ID we're actually getting. Okay, cool. So make sure we weren't actually just getting the category name or whatever. So we need that ID. Okay, so after date, we can just put user ID, user underscore ID, and that will be all of these guys inserted in the database. So that should get us that user ID now when we create the thing. Okay, so I got to delete the one we just made though, because it's probably not good. Let's see. Yep, delete this guy one more time. Okay. All right, now we'll probably still have that error, but at least we'll have the ID where it needs to be. Okay, let's check out the database this time. And we have 1. So we have the user ID now. It's fantastic. Now, back to the real problem, that error. So it is saying that it can't read length of in the render. Nope, not the right file. In our render expense function, which we're console-logging the expenses here. So let's look at what that is. So this is where the error is at right here. Expense.length equals 0. It's saying it can't find a length on expenses. And so the reason is because expenses is an object. Or no, I'm sorry, expenses is undefined. So you can't find a length on something that's undefined. So whatever is being passed in here is undefined. So we need to go back to where this is being called in our add function. That's our submit. Oh, okay, so our submit, we have it at the very end here, but we're not passing anything to it. So it's passing nothing right here. Which I actually not think we don't need it here anyway, because we're going to go, yeah, we call it in add expenses down somewhere. What do we call it? Or we will call it. Yeah. So we can kill it here. And then in the add expenses function where we're passing these guys. So we're getting here, we're actually adding the expense, and then it's coming back, and we can console log the response here to make sure it's good. Let's log response. So this is a response from our post request, right? So it's hitting the server, going to the database, updating, coming back and saying, hey, it worked or didn't work. So let's see what it says here. Response. Okay. Add something else. We'll say burger. $10. Okay, so our response is here. Our response is okay. So we're definitely getting what we wanted. The status text says created. So we created something. So that's good. So we know our response is coming back here. So now we need to make our response into JSON so we can then update that expense array, right? So we can see. Okay, so if it's not okay, we're going to throw the error. If it is good, then we're going to do, let me just do const response. Well, we'll just say returned expenses, I guess. Good enough. Equals await response dot JSON, right? And then we'll console log that to see what that looks like. Okay. All right. We'll do this again. How about some pie? Okay, so here's our return expenses. So it's returning just the expense that we created, which is what we told it to do by doing that select single. So we want all the expenses, right? We don't just want the one we just made. So probably right after we do we create it, we're going to want to fetch all of them, right? So we're going to go ahead and run our load expenses again, which is, oh, that's our form, which is below this. Yeah, load expenses. So we'll go ahead and just call load expenses after we get our return. So we'll do load, nope, expenses. And so that we'll dump down here. It's going to hit the database again, get all the expenses, and then render them to the page properly. Now what we could do, since we already had the object with all the expenses in it, we could just add this one to it, but that's not really good practice because it could have stale data. So the best thing is to just go back to the source, grab a fresh batch of what exactly is in the database, which now will include our brand new one we just made. Okay, so let's give this a go and see what it does. Okay, so we got all these guys. I'm gonna clear that out. Okay, nuggets. $967. It's expensive. Cool. Okay. So no error. Beautiful. Look, nuggets got added right to the top of our page. It is an other. It's $967. It's good to go. And that is a post and then getting everything up to date, the whole tunnel around thing. Does that make sense? Sort of, kind of.
I'm getting some errors still. I
Okay.
tried to follow along, but I think I might have missed some things.
Yeah, no
So,
worries.
you want me to share my screen real fast?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
I know I'm hard to keep up with. My mind's like, do this.
Okay, hold on. Okay, there it goes. Okay. Okay, so pretty much, okay, I'm getting the internal server error.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I think when I got my server running, I was trying to do the dev and it didn't work, and I didn't have time to really troubleshoot. What is the command to get it to work like all the time? Is it like just nmp dev?
So you mean to use the Nodimon?
Yeah,
Yeah, npm run dev.
run dev.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. So remember in your package JSON, anything under the scripts, you got to do npm run and then whatever it is.
okay. I skipped the run.
Yep. Happens all the
So
time.
that might be why it's not reflecting. Uh, terminal.
And then make sure you're in your server folder.
Yeah.
Like those are the two biggest things, right? You're not in the right folder or you forgot the run
Uh,
command.
I'll do ls. I can't remember. And then npm run dev.
Yep, there you go.
Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna try one more time real fast.
Okay.
Okay, I'm still getting the error.
Um, let's see. Refresh your page just for fun. And then try it again. Okay. So is your 3001, is that the right port?
Yes.
Okay. And then do you have these expenses post route in your server?
I'm not sure.
Okay, let's go look at your server code.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. So they're on 85 as your post route. So that's good. Okay. Yeah, jump over to your index.js. Let's see what's going on over there. So that's your post.
I think it said something about, hold on one second. 102 await fetch. I believe that's all right.
Yeah. Jump in your .env real quick just to. Oh, never mind. It says at the bottom you're on serving on port 3001, so that's right. Okay. Let's see. So it's saying it can't find it. Scroll up a little bit. So are you seeing that incoming expense on your browser console?
Yeah, it's right here.
Okay, yep. HTTP localhost 2001 expenses.
I
Okay.
think
Yeah, go back to your server
should it be
code.
create expenses instead of create expense?
No, that's just the tag. That doesn't matter. I could say whatever you wanted. Um, let's see. Do okay. Query param for ID1. That's in the
I
query.
actually had a question on that. I
Mhm.
think I understand it, but let me just explain it. You tell me if I'm wrong.
Yep.
So I noticed that I was starting to get the query param for ID1. That means that I'm basically logged in as user one, like that Jose
Mhm.
or whatever, right?
Right. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Actually, how would I log in as someone else? We haven't built that part yet.
No, and I mean technically you're not logged in. It's just we're just passing a fake ID.
Okay.
But that's what we're mimicking, right? So when you do it for real, you'll have a server route that will hit Supabase for authentication, and
Mm,
it'll check the password and the whatever for your login form, and then it'll send back an ID based on that if it's valid. So
okay.
then you would actually use that ID and not just have a fake one like we have.
Mm.
But yeah, that's good for now. So the I don't know oh, we're in index. Go to your server.js, please. And let's see. Do a console log just right after, like on 86. Just hit enter and do a console log.
86.
Yeah.
It's right here.
Yeah. Actually, I'm sorry, one more up. Yeah. Just do console log, rec.body or whatever. Yeah, like it's saying it's fine. I just want to see if it's actually hitting that route because it's saying it's not. So yeah,
I'll refresh this. See what I'm
yeah.
ladder. And then
All right, go to your server.
go to my
Your
server,
server. Yeah. Yep.
server.js.
There you go. Yep. So it's hitting the rect.body. So it is hitting the route. Something's happening in there that it doesn't like. So let's see. Is your table is expenses, right? In Supabase?
I believe so. Yeah.
Do line 7, select all from expenses. Just run that just to double check. Okay, yep. So that's fine. All right, let's go back to your server code. Okay, so we know that's correct. We know oh, you know what? I bet it's the curly brackets. Go to index.js real quick. And where you have, so on line 105, those curly brackets, get rid of those.
Did you get rid of those?
I did. Yep.
I think I missed that part.
Yeah. Yeah. So where your expenses on line 90, since we're making an object there,
Mm-hmm.
we don't need to put it in curly brackets because it's already an object. So you're sending
Okay.
like an object wrapped in an object. So
Yeah.
bet that'll fix it. Let's see.
Can't see.
On the far right. Keep going right
Okay.
there. There you go.
Excuse
Bless
me.
you. There we go. Sweet.
Okay.
Yeah. And I didn't see what you wrote. Did it add it on there?
I don't see it actually.
Okay. Let's see. Let's go to your database and see if it's in there.
You want me to go to Superbase and
Yeah. Yeah, just run that select all again and see if it's
Yep, I think that's it right there.
okay. So yeah, you're not passing the user
User
ID.
ID is null.
Yeah. So let's go fix that.
Okay. Was that in server?
So you right there on line 95, you're passing it in there. So yeah, so you're passing it to your server, so that's good. So now yeah, let's go to server and see if you're actually using it. Yeah, so you're not. So on 86, add it to that list there after date.
And
Just do a
what?
comma and then user underscore ID. And then yeah, it threw it on line 90 for you there as well. So now it's actually getting passed to the database.
Got it.
Okay, you run another one and see if it works.
The share stuff is in the way of
Yeah, yeah, go up, 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 right there. There you go.
okay.
Oh, something happening. Oh, connection refused. He did something to make it mad. Can it read property undefined length? Okay, so it's doing the same thing that it did to me with the render expenses. So yeah, go back to your JS, your index.js, and then go up to your form, whatever your form submit is. Yeah, right there. Go down. Keep on going. Keep going. Keep going. So that render expense is right there. Get rid of that guy. Okay, and then go to your add expenses function. It's right below it there. There you go. Keep going.
It's not this one?
Nope. No, that's what you're calling it. We're gonna add that render inside this add expense function if you didn't already.
Okay. Do I need to add the ID? User
Nope.
ID? No?
No, since it's global, you just
Oh,
grabbed
yeah.
it right there. Yeah. All right, keep going. Okay. Oh, load expense. That's what we got right there. So that's good. And that'll call the render. So yeah, that should be good. I think you just had that one hanging out.
What about this one?
That's good. That's what we want it to call. Because it'll load them all and then it'll paste it on the page. Okay. Sweet.
Right
So
there.
added it. Yep. The only thing you're missing is your category. Just your display of that.
Oh yeah.
So we can go fix that.
So let's see.
It's going to be in the render expenses function. Yep. So go down. So right there where it says category on 296, that should be categories dot name. I know those things get in the way. Like, move. Trying to work. There you go. If you refresh it, it should be good. There we go.
Okay.
Sweet. Well done.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. All right. An hour passes way too fast.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. But we successfully did make an entire post route, so that's good. Move it over here. Okay. Yeah, post is really the hardest one, I would say, because you have to provide it with the most information, make sure everything is right and it gets all the way where it needs to be, comes back. Delete, super easy. All you do is provide it the ID, delete, done. Put is very similar to post, just you only provide it whatever you're updating. So you typically don't have to give it like the whole object or whatever. So Saturday, that's what we'll do is I think probably we'll maybe go over one more together a lot quicker. And then just let you guys start digging it in and getting those. And then if we have time, we'll maybe throw on a little fun. But these do take a while to kind of get the grasp and get the flow. So if not, then Derek can have all the fun with y'all after. So, any questions on any of that? No?
Nope.
Is it clicking a little bit? Hopefully.
A little bit. I
Okay.
need more practice, definitely.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah, this was probably, I think besides like for me anyway, besides the initial like JavaScript tiers, like the initial like what is this whole new way of thinking? Like this is the hardest thing to kind of grasp because there is like so many steps to get it all the way there and get all the way back. And it's like 3 different systems if you think of your front end, your back end, your database, like they all kind of work a little bit different. So you got to just get them all in sync and everything else. But this is like professionally what I do, what we do as developers, like following this code and, writing functions to do different things to it, manipulating the data, bringing it back. Like this is it. So if you can get this on this level, then it's just think about it like times, 1,000 more data points and you're good. So,
Sorry.
yeah.
I was just gonna say, is it like, would it be worthwhile to sort of make a checklist for myself of the steps? Do they follow a certain order like every time, or,
Mhm.
how is it like they change every time, I guess is what I'm wondering, or is it kind of like this is like the general number of steps like in this order or whatever?
Yeah, definitely. If making a checklist helps you, it helped me. I did the same thing. Like I
You
was
did? Okay.
notes. Actually, I'll show you real quick. Here we go. So right now I'm trying to learn this thing called gRPC. which is it's a different way of doing what we're doing now for like microservices to talk to each other. But I will show you my notes just so you can kind of see how. Oh, that's the wrong one. That's not what I wanted. Okay. Oh, go away. Let me get this up here. So, like I have this entire notes tab where I'm just writing out kind of every single step of what I'm doing, and then within the let me put up one of these guys. Like within this proto thing, like all of these are just notes that I'm just writing out, so I know like, okay, this is what this does and that what that. So yeah, like that's exactly how I learn.
Okay. Okay.
And then yeah, as far as steps, like these are the like fundamental workflow steps. The difference will be like sometimes like if you need to calculate the total price of like everything on your list, like that'll be a helper function that you'll build that you'll just call like at some point in the flow. So the workflow may expand, but as far as like this is what it does every time. You're always gonna, at least for web development, right? You're always gonna have like a web page that someone's gonna interact with, and they're gonna want to do something that's gonna involve some data. And so basically take the request, push it on down, do whatever you got to do to it, talk to the server or don't, or I mean talk to the database or don't, depending on what you're doing, and then bring it on back. But that's it. Just go in there, coming back. So
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any questions about development as a career or anything like that in general? No.
Are there
Other jobs? Yes.
Yeah. I don't know, I'm just trying to figure out how to say.
Yeah. Yes, there are. Yeah. There are a lot of people laid off, because of everything that's been going on. But really it's a who you know kind of world, like I've said. And everything can be learned. So if you see a job that has Python in it, and you're mainly doing JavaScript, it's just a different language that's doing the same stuff, right? It's still got variables, still got loops, has an API, like everything else. So you can take this skill and just kind of port it into different languages and things. And there are a ton of jobs out there. There's a lot of competition, but again, if you know Elizabeth from Techlahoma and she really likes you and wants to work with you, even though maybe you have less experience than whoever, you're gonna have a better bet.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah. And I had mentioned before, 2 of our students from the last cohort did get jobs, and so it is possible to get a job from here, but obviously continued learning is it's a lifelong pursuit. So yeah, hope that's helpful.
Yeah, it is. It is. Thanks.
Yep. Now, Wayne, you work with code now, or code adjacent, right?
Yeah. I support some developers.
Is that the secret way of saying it?
Yeah, I work with some developers.
Yeah. Okay. So is your goal to do development or?
I'm not sure. So I really wanted to learn mainly. Okay, so I was doing some vibe coding like right before this, and I was making cool stuff, but I had no idea what was happening.
Yeah.
And a large part of it was I've always kind of wanted to like learn it, and I think that it would help for me to be able to look at the code and be like, okay, that's why it's not working.
Yep.
Fix it instead of, hey, I really want this menu to float as you scroll down. And then, AI will say, okay, we fixed it. It floats as you scroll down. And then you like scroll down and it doesn't,
Right.
things like that. And I also just want to try to get in the habit of like learning and interacting with this stuff more. Also, it helps me with my work because we're starting to do a lot of like automation.
Okay. Gotcha.
Or we're trying to, and I struggled a little bit. Like the first thing that I automated, I remember I had to like get on GitLab and I was like, what is this?
Hmm.
And so it's helped me with my workflows a lot at work as far
Awesome.
as in I'm getting a little bit more adept at like making like
Yeah.
YAML scripts for stuff a little bit. I've made a couple over the
Cool.
last like month. So I don't know if I'm gonna become a developer, but I think that we're kind of getting to the point where it would help to at least be able to read code and understand what it's doing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing. Like I probably would take a job if I got one, but I don't know if that's really my goal right now.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's huge. Like the whole vibe coding thing, when it came out, people were, like throwing secret keys out and everything else and not knowing any better. But it is
Mm.
it is really the skill to be able to look at the code that the AI made and fix it. Like that skill is so much more valuable than like writing something from scratch anymore, you know. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's very good. Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, it's 7:01. I kept you past. If you want to mess with this before Saturday, feel free. I'm not going to give you any read or any other homework or stuff. Um, but yeah, Saturday we will get y'all actually doing this and building stuff. And it'll be your last day with me. I'll still be here, but not teaching.
Mm.
Cool.
Cool. Thank you.
All right. Yep. See you
Thank
later.
you.
Thank you,
Thank
thank you.
you.
Bye.
Bye.